Trixie and Luna Go to the Pound by Skijaramas and Tom117Z. Oh boy, we're doing this shite again.
And this is why I should never send you shit.
Weren't you the one to start the idiocy verse, though? This is your fault.
I created it. You devolved it.
I think the word you're looking for is evolved, my friend. You have an unneeded D in there. It was a day of celebration. Queen Chrysalis had been defeated once more, and all of her captives had been freed. The Queen's subjects had undergone something of a design shift, to some, but not all, of their dismay. And this was all thanks to not the usual group of walking apocalypse magnets, but a far more varied substitute. Discord, the now King Thorax, the great and powerful Trixie Lulamoon, Starlight Destroy the Timeline Glimmer. Two of said individuals, Trixie and Starlight, had temporarily excused themselves from the proceedings of their Medal of Honor and Starlight's graduation day party, just taking a moment to enjoy a more mellow atmosphere in the halls of Twilight's castle. They'd had enough excitement recently. "It's kind of overwhelming," Starlight commented, poking her pink heart of courage hanging around her neck on a golden chain with a very slight frown. "Getting a Medal of Honor and graduating on the same day?
Well, to be fair, I don't think it's enough. Where are the fireworks?"
Trixie added bluntly, while lifting up her own medal.
"Honestly, it's like they forgot that I helped you."
Starlight found a small smirk forming on her face.
"Getting caught constitutes as helping, eh?"
Trixie frowned.
"Hey, I distracted that changeling long enough for you and Thorax to get a move on. Plus, Thorax and I, the great and powerful Trixie, managed to create a diversion before that to let us get further into the hive,"
she shot defensively. Starlight giggled.
"Trex, have you ever heard of teasing?"
she asked, while wrapping a foreleg over the other mare's shoulders.
"Teasing? Of course. I, the great and powerful Trixie, happen to be the supreme goddess of teasing."
Starlight looked unconvinced.
"Right."
As the two mares continued to bicker like schoolyard foals, or a married couple, whichever you prefer, they were highly unaware of another nearby presence. That presence was none other than the Princess of the Night, Princess Luna, who, like the argumentative pair, wished to temporarily be away from the hyperactive crowds within the castle's party room. Princess Luna had taken but one step into the hallway before spotting, hearing, the pair of unicorns. She heard Trixie's proclamation, allowing the Maiden of Dreams a small titter of amusement. She backed into the doorway, intent on letting them finish their debate before passing on.
"Trixie shall prove it,"
Trixie proclaimed, striking what was presumably meant to be a powerful pose.
"And when Trixie does, then there shall be no more doubt, and all will bow before the might of Trixie."
"Prove it how?" Starlight pressed, her smile unwavering. Trixie's eyes lidded just a little.
"Well, lead me to a bedroom,"
she cooed softly. Starlight's smile wavered. Her eyes briefly flicked past Trixie's sultry expression when she caught a flicker of blue and sparkle in the corner of her eye. A spike of panic filled Starlight when, standing in the doorway with a knowing look, was Princess Luna, staring right at them.
"Trixie!" "What?" Trixie asked innocently. "Do you not have confidence in Trixie's ability?"
"Trixie, shut up!" Starlight demanded, now blushing like a tomato. "Seriously, stop!"
"But I don't want to."
Starlight's eye was twitching furiously as she saw the Lunar Princess shoot to a rather bemused expression, not yet realizing she had been spotted.
"Seriously, stop!" "Then you concede my victory."
Trixie proclaimed before getting the bright idea to add,
Perhaps we should go to a bedroom anyway, just to celebrate.
That's it! Starlight shouted in extreme embarrassment, rather brashly lashing out with her magic in some ill-fated and highly uncontrolled attempt to have the blue mare shut the hell up. Sadly, she only managed to unleash an overpowered wave of concussive magic that launched into Trixie and sent the startled and yet unrepentant mare screaming away down the hall, and directly into the startled form of Princess Luna. Starlight's brain only began to have the dawning realization of horror as to what she had just done when Trixie slammed into the princess. And the two didn't stop there, however, rather continuing down the next hall and through the wall. A cloud of dust and shattered crystal was thrown into the air, Starlight staring on in complete shock at her latest blunder.
Oh dear,
she said simply.
Well, if I wasn't going to be executed for time travel...
She shook her head violently, while adding in a self-deriding facehuff.
Shut it, Starlight,
she scolded herself.
Twilight said that Luna has a humorous side. Maybe she'll find the humor in this situation? Yes, definitely.
She stayed still a few moments longer, staring at the hole in the wall expectantly. But if she was expecting the boisterous laughter of the Princess of the Night, she was sorely disappointed.
Oh no,
Starlight whimpered, beginning to trot towards the devastation.
Oh dear, oh my. Twilight's going to send me to Magic Kindergarten for sure.
She finally made it to the rather impressively sized hole and stepped over the sharp, jagged crystals all around its edges. The hole led, much to Starlight's increased horror, into a completely trashed library.
Scratch that. She's going to send me into the sun.
But despite her impending lavender-colored doom, there was one thing that trumped even that on Starlight's oh-shit-o-meter. As she scanned the room, she could only see toppled bookcases and even a few torn books everywhere. And there was absolutely no sign of Princess Luna or the teasing and seductive Trixie anywhere. Only a heavily burnt mirror with a bunch of machinery attached to it.
Ah! What did Starlight hit me with?
Trixie demanded in a loud and frightened squeak as she and Luna fell in a very disorienting spiral through perhaps the most kaleidoscopic world either of them had ever seen. Luna opted to remain quiet for a moment, just processing, and wondering why she felt like she felt an unnervingly familiar sensation. Oh, it's because she was getting smaller. Both mares' trains of thoughts were interrupted when they suddenly felt gravity go sideways. The kaleidoscope of colors vanished, to be replaced by a blue sky and, as they toppled down, green grass and white concrete. For a moment, the two lay still, allowing their sudden vertigo to wear off. It was Trixie who sat up first, not quite understanding patience in a situation like that. She looked around queasily and blinked her eyes. Her very tiny eyes.
What the?
She asked, her voice much higher pitched than she was frankly used to.
What?
As she gazed upon her hooves, she realized that her legs were much shorter than they should have been.
Why am I small?
Luna glanced over, already knowing the answer.
You are a filly,
she said dryly before sitting up herself. She dusted herself off, rather irked by the fact that her mane was no longer full of galaxies and was hanging limply.
And apparently I am as well. What? How? Why? Why would Starlight make both of us tiny? Where did you come from anyway?
Luna sighed.
I was watching you two bicker. I had been planning on waiting for you to pass on by, but then Glimmer had her little panic attack. And now...
She glanced up and cringed at the sight of a tall and imposing building with the letter CHS over the door.
We are here.
Trixie looked around her, her mind gradually going blank.
What is?
She tried to formulate words, but all that came out were confused and slurred mumblings. All because of the eerily familiar and yet extremely different wall-eyed, person that stared across the way at them with a mix of curiosity and glee.
What is that? I believe that's a human that Twilight likes to talk about,
Luna recalled.
Do try to calm yourself, Lulamoon. According to Twilight, all we have to do is return to the statue behind us, and we shall be home.
Luna then hummed, putting a small hoof to her chin in thought.
Though I thought we were supposed to blend in better. Perhaps Starlight Glimmer's freakout caused damage, or caused something to go wrong. But alas,
Trixie was gone. Luna blinked at the spot where her boastful companion had just been, before moving her eyes forwards and seeing the blue filly trotting rather dumbly towards an outstretched muffin in the human's hand.
I don't even know why I bother,
Luna moaned, trotting hastily after the other pony.
There's a good doggy,
the human cooed as Trixie took the muffin and nibbled on it adorably.
Oh, you must be so hungry. I can't leave you here like this. Somebody must know who your owners are. Owners?
Luna muttered distastefully.
I am a princess, not a slave. Oh, you're like the Spike Dogs,
the human noted cheerfully.
They're like twins. Do you know them?
Trixie finished munching on the muffin before looking up at the human curiously.
She looks familiar to Trixie. What was the name of that male mare? Muffins? Bitsy? Bright Eyes? My name is Derpy,
Derpy informed them.
Silly doggies. Right, that was it.
Trixie deadpanned.
You delivered my mail to Pinkie Pie.
Derpy blinked.
I did? Oh, I don't remember that, but I'm sorry anyway. I didn't even know dogs had mail. We're not dogs,
Luna snapped before giving Trixie the stink eye.
And you, Lulamoon, come back now. If you have a complaint with this person, at least wait until we're seeing the right one.
Trixie huffed.
Trixie will make do with what she has. Besides, Trixie demands that, whatever her name is, provides more muffins.
Derpy squeed happily.
Yay! I always have more time for dogs and muffins. Not dogs,
Luna muttered under her breath in exasperation. Derpy reached out and scooped both the dogs into her arms, turning back towards the school and heading inside. Internally, Derpy was also debating what she should do. Fluttershy was in class right now, so that went her first option. It was then that Derpy decided that she had to give the puppies over to the professionals who could find their owners. She had to call the pound.
Twilight! I killed Luna and Trixie!
Starlight screamed in hysterical panic while throwing open the doors to the central room. All of the music inside suddenly stopped, and all of the guests turned their eyes to her, including Discord, Thorax, Princess Celestia, and Twilight. Then Discord just laughed. Well, good luck with that, he announced before popping away amidst a bright flash, most certainly to watch all that would unfold from his Idiocyverse box set.
Starlight,
Twilight began slowly, an eye twitching.
Meet me in the throne room.
As they left for the throne room, nervous murmurings began to spread throughout the chamber. Princess Celestia simply returned to her cake. Normally, she would be concerned as to her little sister's well-being, but really, Discord's reaction had said it all. Besides, it was Saturday.
You killed them? I killed them! Why? It was an accident! How? I blasted them with magic and they turned into ashes. Show me!
Starlight cried as she led Twilight to the scene of the double murder. Once they reached the room with the mirror, Twilight spotted that much of the machinery was broken. Sparks were flying out of just about everything, and weird, sparkly mist that was almost certainly lethal to inhale was leaking out of one of the devices. She noted the destroyed books and filed that away for later. Starlight would pay for the death of innocent books, but they could wait. For now. Studying the scene a bit more, Twilight looked to Starlight with a relieved expression crossing her face.
Okay, good news first. You didn't kill Luna or Trixie. Oh, thank goodness.
Starlight sighed in relief, collapsing to the ground.
The bad news is that you trapped them in a parallel world. Oh, fuck me.
Starlight groaned, covering her face with her hooves. Twilight nodded.
Oh, your life is gonna be fucked up for sure. Consider your graduation certificate revoked until further notice.
Starlight made sad horse noises, curling up into the fetal position.
In the meantime, I need to work on getting those two back. You?
She pointed a hoof at Starlight.
Go to your room and think about what you've done. But
Starlight looked up, wanting to help.
None of the back talk. Room, now.
Twilight snapped before looking back to the mirror portal, with Starlight scampering away. Now that she had sent the most powerful unicorn in Equestria to bed without her supper, her work could begin.
Oh, jeez, this is gonna be hard to fix.
She plucked the old journal from its place atop the portal, disengaging the power for now. Sparks stopped flying and mist stopped pouring out, and Twilight took note that the lilac unicorn had probably inhaled some while curled up on the floor. Problems for later. Flipping the book open, she conjured a quill and some ink and wrote a hasty message in its pages.
Hey, Sunset, my student Starlight just punted Princess Luna and Trixie Luna Moon from my end to your end. The portal is broken, but I can fix it. I don't know if they came through as humans or not. Looks like the portal took some pretty nasty damage, so who knows what all could have gone wrong. Just keep an eye out. If you find 2 Trixies or another Vice Principal Luna, figure out which one is from Equestria and keep them safe until I can fix the portal. You'll be able to tell easily enough, I bet. Just look for the Luna giving Trixie a deservedly hard time. Seriously, she's loud when she's angry. Your friend, Princess Twilight Sparkle.
Sunset Shimmer had just been walking out of math class when a heavy object in her backpack began to glow and buzz like a mobile phone. She and her friends from CHS had piled on out of the classroom, and the bacon-haired pony in human form extracted the book from her bag and looked at the latest message.
What's the problem?
Rainbow Dash asked, leaning against the lockers in the hall.
Some big monster coming through for us to pump back over? Please say yes. No. Nuts. Sorry, Dash.
Sunset apologized before showing them all the message.
Apparently their Luna and Trixie accidentally got sent through. We'd better find them.
Well, they shouldn't be too hard to find, Applejack noted. We best start at the portal.
Where else would we start, AJ?
Rainbow said with a roll of her eyes.
In the party store,
Pinkie proclaimed, shooting out from one of the lockers.
It's where I'd want to go. Well, your counterpart isn't the one who came through, darling,
Rarity pointed out.
I'm sure a princess has far more refined tastes. Have you met me?
Twilight Sparkle, the non-princess one, asked sheepishly.
I mean her, the not me one. Fluttershy!
A new and overly oblivious voice shouted from down the hall, bolting straight for the most timid of the teenagers.
Oh boy, have I got news for you! Oh, hi, Derpy.
Fluttershy gently greeted, shifting some of her hair to the side.
What's wrong? Nothing,
Derpy replied with a shit-eating grin.
I found these 2 dogs alone and fed them a muffin. Aw, that's sweet,
Fluttershy cooed.
and then I sent them to the pound.
Suddenly, Fluttershy's eye twitched.
You... what? I sent them to the pound.
The twitch increased.
Are you fucking kidding me?
All eyes turned towards the usually timid girl in surprise, though Derpy seemed unfazed.
Nope, they just got picked up. Why didn't you send them to my animal shelter?
Fluttershy shouted in uncharacteristic rage. Derpy paused and then tapped her foot in intense thought.
I didn't think about that.
Fluttershy looked about ready for a meltdown.
Okay.
Rainbow interrupted, moving Fluttershy to one side before she gifted Derpy a trip to A&E.
Something to figure out later. Right now we need to find some people. See you later, Derps.
With Rainbow Dash keeping the enraged Fluttershy close, the group of friends began to walk away in the direction of the main entrance.
Okay, bye.
Derpy shouted after them.
Oh, if you go to the pound, tell those talking dogs I said hi.
The group all stopped, turning back towards her questioningly.
What was that?
Sunset asked as sweetly as she could.
I am going to murder her! I swear!
Fluttershy seized while Rainbow practically dragged her, kicking and screaming out of CHS. More than a few students looked on in bemusement and horror before opting to swiftly vacate the immediate area. For safety reasons.
Fluttershy, calm your tits!
Rainbow grunted with effort against her struggling yellow friend.
No!
Sunset followed them out, a hand on her head.
Oh boy. This just got more complicated.
She grimaced before shifting her gaze over to Twilight.
I take it Fluttershy doesn't like this, other pound.
The slightly alarmed bookworm in question asked while adjusting her glasses.
Kinda,
Applejack said quietly while leaning over.
They're fine and all, but Fluttershy doesn't like that they even have animals. Plus, the other pound sometimes puts down the animals that never get adopted.
Murderers! Fluttershy called like a banshee.
Right.
Twilight said slowly, a little off-put by this new bit of information.
Well, we need to get them, don't we? Well, they need to go home and neither of them really know this place, so yeah.
Sunset agreed before frowning and rubbing her chin.
How do we go about that, though? We could just walk in and say, hey, these are mine, sorry. They got out of the yard. I'll pay the fine and sign the paperwork and stuff. Safe, easy, and legal, Pinky suggested. Plus, it'll give us an excuse to host a big party before they go home. The pets return to their owner's party. They're not their owners, Pinky,
Rainbow pointed out with a raised eyebrow. Pinky slid over, her eyes narrowing.
It would be for the illusion, my little Dashie. I want a party.
Rainbow shrunk away a bit.
Okay. No!
Fluttershy suddenly cut in, shaking herself out of Rainbow's grip now that she was a bit distracted.
We are not playing nights with them.
Rarity shrunk away as well.
Fluttershy, dear, are you quite sure we need to get aggressive about this?
She asked nervously. Fluttershy turned to Twilight.
You! Me? I need you to find schematics of their building. Schedules, employee rosters, all that. We need a wireless headset set up for ease of communication. Also, we need night vision goggles.
Fluttershy turned to Rarity.
And you? What? I need a... Was that French?
Rarity nodded.
Okay, I need 2 pitch black bodysuits. One for me, one for Sunset Shimmer.
Fluttershy continued.
What? Why me?
Sunset asked with her hands on her chest, flabbergasted.
You came from Equestria. You know what we're looking for. Plus, you came from Equestria. This is your responsibility as much as it is mine.
Fluttershy explained before cracking her knuckles.
Nobody puts innocent, fuzzy little animals in a shelter besides mine in this town. Nobody.
Rainbow whistled.
like this side of Fluttershy.
The plan was set and the equipment gathered. It was nighttime now, their audience being the stars. Very worried stars at that. A van sat on the street corner nearby to the pound, having been procured rather quickly by Pinkie Pie before being decked out in sci-fi level spy gadgets by Twilight. The inside was like something out of a Jason Bourne movie, only far more purple. Fluttershy and Sunset Shimmer were likewise dressed in their black suits that covered their entire bodies, green night vision goggles strapped to their heads.
You do look like Splinter Cell agents,
Rainbow commented with a raised eyebrow.
Oh, I played those games,
Twilight chimed in with a small geeky smile.
I love the stealth and tech. So much thought has to go into making sure you do it right and focus,
Fluttershy said sternly, poking Twilight in the glasses. Sunset looked her own pair of goggles over with a frown.
Where's the switch for this thing? Ah, here it is. Don't turn it on,
Twilight began, then cringed when Sunset turned her goggles on. Sunset toppled to the ground with a yelp as the bright lights of the computer and inside of the van assaulted her vision.
In here,
Twilight finished sadly. Quickly switching it off, Sunset shot Twilight an apologetic look. So what's the quickest way y'all are gonna get yourselves killed? Applejack deadpanned, shifting her hat to cover her eyes.
Have a little faith, AJ,
Rainbow protested.
They got this. It does seem like a little overkill,
Pinkie Pie agreed.
If Pinkie Pie thinks it's overkill, then there's something horribly wrong,
Applejack said in vindication.
We will not play nice with them,
Fluttershy shouted. The friends all shared concerned glances.
So, she needs therapy after this, right?
Twilight remarked sheepishly.
Something for later,
Sunset said, albeit reluctantly.
If we're actually doing this, we gotta do it soon. Eventually, somebody's gotta notice that they aren't dogs. And then we bring on Will Smith and his Men in Black,
Rainbow Dash commented in a deadpan.
I know those guys in the pound have been blackmailed by the principal into staying quiet. It's not blackmail, Sunset defended. She just said that if anybody reported it, that they would be thrown into the nearest asylum, which they probably would since unicorns are just fairy tales, says the unicorn.
Sunset just rolled her eyes.
Whatever. Let's get this over with.
So, with Twilight and the others staying at the van, Sunset, Shimmer, and Fluttershy began to move off towards the pound itself. They avoided the front entrance like the plague, instead moving around to the side of the chain-link fence. On the side of the building, Sunset spotted a camera slowly sweeping around. Nothing fancy, but still. Sunset ducked back and put a finger to a button Twilight had carefully finagled into her ear canal earlier.
Twilight, we've got security cameras. I doubt you can do anything from your end, but if you can you shut them off or something?
There was the staticky sound of keys being pressed before Twilight's voice cut through Sunset's head like a knife.
Done. You're good to go.
Sunset blinked, looking at the downed cameras in confusion.
How did you do that? That? Oh, that was easy,
Twilight replied.
Hacking into the Pentagon, now that was a worthy challenge.
Sunset filed that information away under the ever-increasing Problems for Later folder and pressed onwards.
Okay. Let's see, there should be a door on the back side of the building once you're over the fence. I don't think it's locked, but if it is, it isn't complicated,
Twilight's voice said.
Well, if it is locked, how do we get past?
Sunset asked with a furrowed brow. Then the fence suddenly had a hole torn into it as a Fluttershy-shaped ballistic missile barged on through.
Sorry I asked.
From there, it was relatively smooth sailing, given that most of the staff would have gone home for the night. They snuck steadily over to the side entrance, finding it thankfully unlocked and opening it up wide. Only for several people to suddenly bolt out in the opposite direction, screaming their heads off as they fled into the night. Following them out was a voice both loud yet completely adorable.
And that is what happens when you feed the princess of the night, matron of dreams and nightmare of the moon, kibbles!
We don't get paid enough for ghosts! One of the staff cried, running through the hole in the fence Fluttershy had made. I'm just a volunteer! Another chimed in, climbing over the fence in a panic. For a second, the two ladies stood in absolute silence.
What was that?
Fluttershy asked curiously.
I think that was Princess Luna,
Sunset said before peeking in. Oh, seems like Luna had a bit of fun with the staff in her angry revenge. There were things just floating around, a chair was spinning sideways in the air, any and all art was on its head, and there was a thick blue mist filling the building. That blue mist then began to lessen and form together into one spot, and before dissipating entirely to reveal an extremely pissed-off looking filly.
Some people have no decorum,
Luna complained.
Truly, they got what they deserved. So cute!
Fluttershy squeed, briefly reverting to her normal buttery self as she scooped up Luna into an overly enthusiastic embrace.
Oh no, not another one,
Luna protested.
No, I refuse! I am the knight! Yes, you are.
Sunset smirked slightly, crossing her arms.
Can Trixie come out yet?
An unusually timid-sounding voice asked sheepishly, a lighter blue filly crawling around the corner on her belly.
The night scares Trixie. As it should,
Luna growled, though coming from a small filly it only made Fluttershy squeal all the more.
And put me down!
Seeing Luna's discomfort, Fluttershy sadly complied and placed the small alicorn onto the floor. She made to hug Trixie instead, though
If you hug Trixie, I will turn you into a potted plant!
Stopped that notion. Sunset snorted.
If you're anything like our Trixie, you couldn't even come close to doing something like that. There is no other Trixie. There is only one so great and powerful as I. Right.
Sunset deadpanned, picking up the protesting filly and all but throwing her over the chain-link fence.
Well, mission accomplished. Apparently so,
Luna replied, beginning to walk out under her own power.
I have heard much of you, Sunset Shimmer, but just because my sister holds you in high regard doesn't mean I won't smite you if you breathe a word of this to any pony.
Luna continued in a childish huff, pouting heavily as she exited.
So cute,
Fluttershy said once again. Sunset smirked.
Very. Come on, let's get out of here. Okay. One moment. Go on ahead. I'll catch up.
Sunset eyed Fluttershy suspiciously, but didn't wish to argue with a friend who recently tore open a fence by running at it. So, with that in mind, she exited through the hole and directed the two fillies to the inconspicuous white van on the street corner. She then followed them as they happily cantered in its direction. And then, a loud crash and the barking of an untold number of dogs filled the ears of all those within 100 miles, accompanied by a blaring alarm. As Sunset turned, all the animals contained within the pound began to scamper out of the building at high speeds. And as they ran, a maniacally laughing Fluttershy exited with them, proclaiming her victory and contempt for the recently fled staff of the pound.
Okay, therapy it is,
Sunset decided. Princess Twilight Sparkle was pacing back and forth with more than a single hair out of place. The day's events just kept playing over and over in her mind, starting with the ceremony and her subsequent talk with her former teacher, all the way to Starlight's latest magical bullshittery. And every time she replayed those events, she became just that little bit more unhinged. And then the portal flared, catching Twilight's attention. As she observed, the forms of Princess Luna and a heavily frazzled Trixie Lulamoon bundled on through. While Luna landed quite gracefully, Trixie landed in a heap.
We're back.
Trixie meekly announced, looking worse for wear.
Now excuse me as I depart for Starlight's bedroom. We need to have a talk.
As Trixie departed the room, Luna looked on in amusement.
Talk or fulfill an earlier obligation,
she mused to herself.
Huh?
Twilight asked in confusion.
It matters not, Luna replied. Apologies for our delayed return. It's been a difficult day. Yeah, Sunset gave me the heads up,
Twilight replied, pointing up at the diary atop the portal.
I mean, you got sent to the Pound! The Pound! Yes, Twilight, I am aware, Luna deadpanned. And then I haunted it. And we shall never speak of this again. Understood?
Twilight nodded quickly, wilting under the Luna's balefire glare.
Good,
Luna concluded before leaving without another word. Twilight just stared at the exit for a moment before letting out a long sigh. She then gave another look around the library, or at least what was left of it. She still had plenty of punishments in mind for the perpetrator, but for now she would be content in just getting everything rebuilt to its former glory.
Twilight?
Trixie's voice echoed throughout the castle, alarm clear in her voice.
Starlight is a filly!
Twilight blinked, suddenly remembering back to when Starlight was in the fetal position on the floor. She must have inhaled the magical mist from the portal.
Oh, son of a bitch!
Well, that was an adventure.
Indeed, and no self-fucking was involved, which I am eternally grateful.
If we're not confused by that remark, go look up Switcheroo. It's a fun read. Trust me. Just go.
Run while you still can.